Sniff it. Before we talk about where we are, we must first remember from whence we came. Marty Schottenheimer brought winning football back to Kansas City and built what is now known as Chiefs Kingdom.
We transitioned from a team built on its defense in the 90s to one of the most dominant offenses and return men in NFL history, led by Dick Vermeil.
In 2012, a 2-14 Chiefs team displayed disastrous play on the field and turmoil off it. We asked to save our Chiefs, and in came Andy Reid, who immediately turned this franchise into a perennial playoff team.
Then, on April 27, 2017, the Chiefs broke free from their journeyman quarterback restraints and drafted Patrick LeVon Mahomes.
In 6 years with Patrick at the helm, we're back-to-back champs and a dynasty headed towards a three-peat. We are unrelenting for this city, these players, and this team. This is the show for the allies. Arrowhead Allies.
Welcome! I bid you welcome to life inside.
Wow.
Arrowhead Allies. Are you ready? Are you ready, Kansas City? Your Kansas City Chiefs are 11-1. What kind of 11-1 team do we got here taking on the Los Angeles Not-So-Superchargers coming into Sunday night? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to break it down, and we are going to break it down in style. Are the Chiefs contenders or are the Chiefs pretenders? You came to the right spot. We got the Los Angeles San Diego Charger, badass outside linebacker Shawne Merriman himself. He is an animal. He got out there. They called him lights out. I called him lights on because when you had your lights on and you were watching him play, he was a dominating factor on the field. We know what he did to Priest Holmes within the legal plays of the game. It was a legal hit, but Priest Holmes went down for 20 months. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Kansas City Chiefs, freaks worldwide of all ages, welcome to Arrowhead Allies.
Shane, I thought you were welcoming me to the Wasp concert, but that's not till tomorrow night in Wichita, man. I'm ready to roll for that too. I might get a head start. I am the biggest Wasp fan. I would put my fandom up against yours, but nobody's going to get that Wasp reference, Shane, but us and this entire internet universe. That's okay. We can hold Blackie Lawless and that band of misfits near and dear to our heart. But yeah, guys, I guess maybe are we just happy that the month of November is over? We've rolled over to December, and maybe with that will come a renewed sense of urgency, of better play, of injecting some new lethal dose of poison into this unit that desperately needs it, and welcoming the Chargers here on Sunday Night Football is going to be no easy task. We're going to talk to Shawne Merriman about that. I'm a little scared. Guys, I said the Chiefs are going to lose 2 out of the 3 between the 2 games against Denver and the 1 left against the Chargers, and I stick to that, man. This is going to be really, really hard. I think at this point, I would be shocked if the Chiefs are the 1 seed. Shocked isn't in the universe of it. Shocked, I tell you. Shocked.
Well, no, I don't know how you feel about that, but I could jump right into this one because I know that Clint and I like to believe that Clint and I, and Noah as well, Shaggy, you've been I think you're the serial optimist for a reason. Well, we got to stop right here, guys. We have our guy jumping right in. Let's shut up and get to it.
Yeah, I'm glad we got Shawne Merriman in here because they were about to bite my head off, Shawne. I was about to pick the Chargers to beat the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, but you're here, so you can come in and sort of offer. You can be my tag team partner here And normally I wouldn't do that with an opposing, player here, but it's great to have you. How the hell's it going? It's been a while. What's been up, my friend?
It's going good, man. Everything. And before you guys get into it, I was going to agree with you. So,
well, right.
Well, at least I'm not at least I'm not biased in being a homer, right? I actually believe it.
Right.
Well, Sean, talking about believing that, I don't know. It might be a little tough there for the Chargers. Lab McConkey's dealing with a knee injury. J.K. Dobbins is on IR. Obviously, you guys didn't run the ball a lot against the Falcons. If you can just take us through what this offense might look like going forward. Is it going to be Gus? Is it going to be Kamani? Is it going to be Hassan in the backfield? And then what are they going to do in the pass game if Lab McConkey's out? Because I know they've really relied on him. And obviously, Will Dissly has been a nice surprise at tight end there. But I think this is a game that the Chiefs can win as long as we don't see any of this out there. As long as I think we should be good.
Yeah, you won't see that for sure. That's for guaranteed. But I do think this, and you're right. Gus is going to have to step in and kind of carry the load, right? He's also coming off of injury himself, so he's getting back to being healthy again. But this team's DNA is built off of running, no matter who's back there. And I know Gus JK's having an incredible year, especially with somebody who's had as many injuries as he's had in the past to come back, man. And I know what that looks like. When I caught the injury bug after my 4th year, I couldn't stay healthy. It was a calf, it was a hip, it was a rolled ankle, and it was just a nonstop compensation where I just could not stay on the field, 100%. So even for him to go back and do what he's doing right now is pretty impressive. Now, what you need to do is somebody at the wide receiver position got to step up, because Ladd has been it, and he's been so crucial to what they're doing. And I said this when he came in because I played wide receivers that was really, really like him. There was annoying, pain in the ass, type of wide receivers, the Wes Welkers, the Danny Amendolas, the Julian Edelmans. He's that type, man, to go in there and really slice and dice a defense because he's smart. He's a smart rookie, man. I'm watching him and how he sits down in some of these coverages. He finds a ways to get open, and you can literally see him just getting better by game, and you don't see that by a lot of wide receivers. And Quentin Johnson, man, he got to step up. This is a time where, yes, he had that drop pass, which is obviously horrible. He's had a pretty good year, but this is a game, if they do got a shot at winning, he needs to be the guy to go out and kind of redeem himself from that last game.
Absolutely.
Well, Sean, looking at the AFC West here, not only are the Chargers better immediately under Coach Jim Harbaugh, but Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos, man, you talk about a quarterback that, and I didn't see this coming. I got to be honest. I did not see this coming this soon. So for the Chiefs, it may not be this year because the Chiefs, they have a 3-game lead over the Chargers in the division, but going forward and starting, the Chiefs have 3 division games left, or 2 division games left here coming up with both the Chargers and the Broncos. So for the Chiefs going forward, as we look around this landscape, we know the Raiders probably won't get it together, but Chargers, Broncos, this is going to be really hard for the Chiefs for a really long time.
Yeah, and you're right. And I agree. I knew he was going to be good because I saw it ended up be good. I didn't know that he was going to have this type of impact this early. And, the funny thing is, last year I was talking a lot about Russell Wilson and just him not having the respect from Sean Payton. We saw that, right? Because Sean Payton consistently came out and was basically just bagging on Russell Wilson. He having guys in here. You don't be a politician. It was like a constant – there wasn't respect level there. And you saw on the sidelines earlier this year where Bo Nix went right back at Sean Payton. And there was a mutual respect. So I think coming in the door, earning that respect from a guy like Sean Payton, who's a hard-nosed, old-school kind of mentality coach, it says a lot. And that division is going to be sharp for a long time. And whatever the hell the Raiders were thinking about not coming to the season without a quarterback, I mean, don't get me wrong, Browers is good. The tight end, he's good. They drafted. I think he's going to be good for a long time. But you got to get somebody to throw him the damn ball. And if you can't survive in this division with Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert, and now Bo Nix, who could be a problem for a long time.
100%.
Sean, it's good to have you back on, man. We had a great conversation with you last time, and I think that things are going really well here with you today, man. We're always happy to have you on. Something I have to get your perspective on this, though, because I think we all, in totality, agreed that this Chargers team, especially with the addition of Jim Harbaugh, was going to go upward. What exactly the definition of upward was something we had to see. And I think this season's gone really well for the Chargers to this point. But, I'm a guy that likes to look at things in a contextual sense. I like to look at teams and say, okay, who have they faced and who have they beat? And the Chargers have taken care of business on the schedule when it comes to the teams they should be beating because they have the advantage of head coach, they have the advantage of a quarterback in a lot of these matchups, and they've taken care of business. The one concern I have if I was a Chargers fan or somebody that has hope for this team moving forward, getting into the postseason, maybe making a run, is the fact that against playoff teams, they only have one win against a current playoff team, if I'm not mistaken, against the Broncos, which is a hell of a win because it's on the road, it's a divisional foe, and it was early in the season. So that's something you definitely want to see happen. But I am a little concerned, though, because against the Ravens, they take a loss. Against the Chiefs, take a close loss. Against the Steelers, 10-point loss. I mean, these are teams that you're going to more than likely face in the postseason. So if the postseason is what the Chargers are really starting to fixate on, and this is their hope, do you think this team is gaining confidence in these kinds of games? Do you think that they're collecting data, or do you think this is just an example of them maybe just being simply a year away?
Yeah, it's funny you said that, and you're right, because you got to beat some of these teams that's over 500. You got to beat some of these teams who you possibly could see down the road again. And I try to remind Chargers fans after that Atlanta game where they were upset on how they played and everything else. And I said, listen, this time last year, Chargers fans were begging for those type of wins, right? They were begging for it to have, win by 3-4 points and get those games. And so the good thing about Jim Harbaugh, and this is something I saw during the offseason, because I was around the team a little bit during the offseason before the season started. There was a different energy. It was a immediate culture shift where these guys are going to go out and compete. You didn't know how the season was going to go, how many wins they were going to have, and how quickly they were going to turn around. But they were going to compete every single game, which they are. And I think with Jim Harbaugh's mentality, running the football, protecting Justin Herbert, which is why you go out and draft a guy like Joe Alt. And you look on the defense side of the ball, what Jesse Minter has done to this team immediately and changed the mentality and how these guys play. If you're running the football and you're playing great defense, you always got a chance, right? So you're not necessarily coming in during the season worrying about a big play wide receiver. Yes, you would like Quentin Johnson to go out and turn it up, get back on track and be your guy that you drafted, but you're not necessarily really relying on him to go out and win games. So anything that he do at that point is a plus. And if you look back at Jim Harbaugh and what he's done in Michigan, what did he do? He ran the hell out of the football. And most of his plays that he hit were big plays down the field off of play action because people are so worried about, the running game. And so I think his mentality was, first, let's come in here and change this culture, right? We're a hard-nosed team. Let's define who we are. Because let me tell you, man, I was at some of those games last year, and I can't tell you how many games I've lost my voice just screaming because those guys, they're not lining up. They're looking around and trying to see who's calling what, and which the defenses always look like they were on their heels. They never played fast. They didn't even look like they were having fun last year playing football. They were just out there and okay with getting beat. Raiders hanging 63 points on this team would never happen. It would never happen because those guys will go out fighting for every inch because it's mentality change. So I'm impressed with what Jim Harbaugh did, but you still got to take into account what you said. Right, you got to beat some of those teams over 500 because they're in a wild card spot right now. So when you get into playoffs, you're going to have to see one of those teams that's a playoff team above 500, one of those teams possibly that you lost too early on. And so that's why it's more critical now that they started going to the playoffs, hitting that momentum switch.
Hey, Shawne, welcome back, buddy. Appreciate you coming back with us. Hey, let's talk about the Houston Texans linebacker, Al-Aziz Shahir, who was suspended 3 games for a hit. When that hit happened, it was obvious there should have been a flag thrown. And when quarterbacks get out of the pocket, they are a target. Whether there's new rules in play or not, they're always going to be a target. Now, we may sit here and rationalize and debate on what kind of target is a quarterback when he's in the open field, but the fact is he's still a target. When you look how that play went down, and you look at his suspension and you look at the venom that Shahir has received on social media because of the hit, if you're the defensive coordinator for the Texans after his suspension, how do you bring him back up to play his style of game with the same ferociousness, but within the rule of play, Shawne?
So the hit was no doubt dirty. I mean, I saw the Tom Brady speaking on it. The quarterbacks need to get down faster and all other stuff. But when you got a quarterback like that in the open field, he's no blocking in front of him. He's running full speed at you. He's already starting to slide. You know that you can't go in there with a forearm shiver. You can't do it. It's just at no point in time it ever crossed your mind. And the game is fast. There's no point in time it crossed your mind like, oh, this quarterback is going to try to out-juke me or outrun me in the open field. You already see him sliding. but I wasn't upset at that. I wasn't upset at the play as much as I was with him after the play, right? I was more pissed off that not only did you had no remorse, right? You didn't get up and you started a fight. And when you start a fight, you bring your other teammates in it because their job as your brother, as your teammate, is to protect you. So not only did you do something dirty, but you also going to double down on it by starting a fight and acting and doing extra after everything was over, dragging your teammates who doing nothing but trying to protect you. I mean, there were more punches thrown on that sideline from the other team on him that his teammates had to drag him out of there and get him out. I was more upset and pissed off at the reaction of what happened, because if he got up and he was a little, upset at the penalty, he didn't think it was fair, then you kind of just walk off or whatever. But then you get up and now you don't want to win the fight. That part I was upset with, and it really just shows me what type of dude that is. I know he came out and said it was a mistake and all this other stuff. Whatever his excuse was, I'm not buying it, because I'll give him this. Say he went in there and did a dirty hit, which I believe was clearly dirty, and you're upset at it. You want to yell at the refs or whatever. When you start to get back there and start punching the other team, and you get your other teammates involved in your BS, that's when you've gone too far. It's just for me, it's a complete selfish act that could have been avoided. And look, we as a defender, it's tough. You go in there, and sometimes you got 3 seconds, 2 seconds to make a split decision, and sometimes it's not always right. It was the reaction that really got under my skin the most.
Well said. And Shawne, I want to talk about this defense under Jesse Minter, the new defensive coordinator there. They kind of have similar names as they've had in the past, but they're playing at a much higher level, one of the best defenses in the entire NFL this year. Just what do you think is the mindset change, and similar names, but getting much better production out of everyone across the board?
Man, less is more. Less is more. And I was fortunate because when I came in, I was coached by Wade Phillips as a D coordinator. My linebacker coaches was Greg Bernusky, former chief, and John Pagano. So I had some great coaches, man, who believed in playing fast and playing football, right? You got your pre-snap keys, you got your formations. Once you watch enough film, you pretty much know between the 2 and 3 plays of what's coming. But last year, their biggest problem was there was a check for a check, right? If a team audible, they motion, they did something, it was a completely different defense. And you can't do that. You got to let those guys go out there and play fast, because playing fast, you actually can be more disruptive than trying to call the perfect play. You got some guys out there. You got Joey Bosa. You got Khalil Mack. You got Tula. You got some guys out there who can make plays on their own, so you don't have to get cute. Last year, they got cute. And this year with Jesse Minter, you're seeing these guys, they're calling their plays, they're lining up, whatever the strong and weak side is, and you see no one else looking around trying to figure out what the play is. That was not the case last year. So, Wade Phillips instilled this in me. It was like, see ball, go ball, right? Wherever the ball is, you get to it. After we call a play, we line you up. We want you to go see you make a play. And that was mentality. And I think that Jesse Minter really brought that back. And I'm hoping, that he stays around a couple more years, like the offensive coordinator did for the Lions. And make it, even though he's going to have some opportunities, I'm hoping to see him around, man, because I think that they can build something special with that organization if he stays put.
Shawne, let's get off of football just for a minute, because you're kind of a Renaissance man. We've known you for a while, and let's just face it, we got an event on our hands, because Lights Out Extreme Fighting 21 coming up here on Friday, December 7th. I want everybody to download the Lights Out Sports app now, where you can watch this event. If you're out in California, hell, go to the event. Tickets are available now. Shawne, this brand has been growing so much. I think the first time we ever talked to you about it, it was like Lights Out number 2 back in Phoenix at the Super Bowl, or maybe LA the year before. So where this has gone, the names are getting bigger. This card's tremendous here coming up. So talk to us about this card and being able to use your tremendous app, Lights Out Sports app here, which there's some great, we even got this Travis Kelce documentary, Sharp, Sturdy.
Yeah, I just watched it. I watched his,
cool, right?
Yeah, I like Travis, man. Travis, he's one of my favorite players to watch. Now he's a fun guy. Both Kelce's, I like them both. And so, yeah, you can download Lights Out Sports TV. We're on every major smart TV. So you got a Roku, Apple TV out there, Amazon Fire, iOS, Android, TCL, Philips, whatever TV device you got, you can get us. Just download us on it. It's completely free. And we got a ton of really cool sports in there, right? From your top motocross, motorsports, poker, TNA wrestling's on there, 300 sports movies and documentaries and counting. I just announced we got the Real Madrid TV on there today, which was pretty cool. And then the fight this Saturday, man. Let me tell you, this card we're already sold. We're sold out. For this fight. When typically we don't sell out until fight time because you got about 70 or 80 walk-ups, and then we'll end up selling out before the night's over. But we're already sold out. This card, man, is next level. We got Blake Troop, who's actually. He's fighting. He's a heavyweight. He's our commentator normally.
Yeah.
He broadcasts our fights, and the cool thing about Troop is, first of all, he's insane. This dude is technically just insane because he's got some of the best trainers and stuff around. His jiu-jitsu is next level, and it could be his last fight with us. And then two fights actually. Once you guys really watch, people out there to watch is Arnold Jimenez and Keenan Lewis. Keenan Lewis is five fights in, and Arnold is 10-3, I believe now. And both of these guys at some point are going to have a shot at the UFC, and that's our whole goal, man. We want to get these guys going, build them up, making sure we have more and more guys have the opportunity to go to UFC. Also, man, Jake Babian, who is a personality from watching you see him, dude. He is a nonstop, and he's not doing it on purpose. This dude is just a show. He's just a show, man. He walks it, he talks it. He's flashy. He comes in there talking trash, and he backs everything up. And then the caveman, Sloan, is fighting at 190. This dude, I saw him. This is the second fight with us, and I saw him at our one of our last weigh-ins. I'm looking at him. We're doing the face-off, and I'm like, dude, you got some size on you. You look like a strong side linebacker in the NFL. He has that build to him, and he can flat out throw down, man. So this is the card to watch. We also got 7 amateurs. Any one of our amateurs can turn pro the next fight. They're all top amateurs in SoCal. So this is the one to watch. Make sure you guys at 5 p.m. Pacific download Lights Out Sports TV on any major TV device you got out there. But it's going to be big.
Yep.
Well, Shawne, it goes without saying, man. Congratulations to all your success, man. It sounds like things are going really well for you guys, dude. But I want to get back to football real quick, Shawne, because I don't get to talk to former NFL players every single day, so I try to get as much as I can out of your guys' brain whenever I can. Now, this is a big matchup, man. I'm not trying to overhype this one. This is a big game. December is now here. We know this is when the games really start to really matter. Not that they don't matter throughout the year, but you know what I'm talking about. And I would say this Chargers team has more hype and attention behind them for more than probably the last 6-7 years. And it's because Jim Harbaugh. It's because what we've talked about already. Justin Herbert playing really good football. I mean, only 13 touchdowns in 12 games, but he only has 1 interception. He's really played into the mold of what Jim Harbaugh is looking for him to do, and he's doing it very well. Going into this matchup, the mentality is what I want to talk about, or rather what I want to ask you about. We know that the Chiefs have won the last 6 matchups between these two teams. And we know that in Justin Herbert's career, he's only won 1 true game because he has 2 wins against this team, but the other one, the Chiefs rested their starters at the end of the season in 2020 season. But he has 1 true win, and that 1 win came at Arrowhead. And I think that's a big thing. Yes, It was in 2021, but that's still, to me, that is still a mental hurdle that Justin got to overcome pretty early in his career. Is that because he had never won an Arrowhead? That's something they're definitely going to play on in this game. Never won a game here. He's never been able to do it. He's already done it. So coming into this matchup, knowing that Herbert has no longer this pressure of having to throw the ball 50 times a game, and the game is lost by him on his arm. And it's now more of a team aspect for this Chargers team where they're running the ball and they have good, sound defense. Do you think that with that pressure now off Herbert, we should expect to see him come into this game and do everything he's been doing against some of these, like I said, inferior teams with that confidence against a team like the Chiefs that have, for better words, have dominated the Chargers in the win column? Do you expect to see a more confident Herbert, a guy that can come in here and make the plays to win this game as opposed to making 40 or 50 really good throws and it coming short? Do you expect to see that change?
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest change this year with Justin Herbert in general. When Jim Harbaugh, he ain't stupid, right? He came there, he knew exactly who he had. He's walking into the locker room with keys to the Ferrari. That Ferrari is named Justin Herbert. He got a quarterback who can throw, but he wanted to scale it back where Justin didn't have to throw 70% of the game for those guys to win, right? He's going out there being efficient, being accurate, making smart decisions, and making the plays when you have to. And that bond between them two, man, I know they showed a lot of it on TV and stuff like that, but around the building, it's something special. They got something, and I don't know, like Andy Reid and Mahomes, like, behind the scenes, what it looks like or anything like that. But they got a bond, man. They got a hell of a bond together. And I think that coming down there to KC, but one of the biggest things to watch out for is really who makes the least amount of mistakes, because it's going to be a very physical game. And I know the last 2 games, even if the Chiefs won, they didn't win how they wanted to win, but it's one of those things that you'll take it. You'll take it. And people say, oh, when the Chargers barely beat Atlanta and everybody's complaining, oh, they should have did this and not that good. I said, do you think the Chiefs are complaining about a blocked field goal or botched snap? I said, absolutely not. That is a win. They'll take it, watch the film, clean it up, and come back. And so this game is going to come down to mistake-free football, because whoever throws the most interceptions, whoever throws – get sacked the most. And it's hard to say because Mahomes was sacked, 5 times the last game or close to it. So
back to back.
Yeah. So you look at that and like, oh, man, we hitting this dude and they're still winning. They're still winning. I'm going to watch Chris Jones and Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. I'm going to watch those matchups. The linebackers of KC are flowing nice. They're making big plays and stuff like that, being part of that front 7. So I think that the first couple quarters of this game is going to be just body shots. Heavy haymakers, body shots. And I think sometime in that second half, depending on how the game shake out, it'll start opening up to more spread offense, more, on both sides of the ball, by the way, getting Kelsey in those option routes and start working the defense. But I think it's going to be a game of chess that first half. Who running the ball, who's executing, really establishing dominance, right? And just kind of seeing who's going to kind of buckle on the first power punches. But it's tough. I try to tell anybody, playing down there this time of the year, it is tough as hell. It is cold. Those fans are loud. That field is hard. I mean, it is. Those conditions are tough, and they're going to have the crowd behind them, and it's a divisional opponent. So, and I want to say this too, because their last couple of games, the Chiefs have shown, especially on their tackles, offensive tackles. That's probably the biggest concern that I'm looking at, as them blocking for Patrick. And so with the Chargers playing as well as they are right now and getting after the quarterback, I think they had, several sacks before Atlanta. They're getting after the guys up front. They're going to have to figure out what Kelsey is not going to do or have a free release. He's going to have to chip one of those guys before he get out into coverage. They're not going to be able to flex him out and get him off the line of scrimmage. They're going to have some help, because if they plan on blocking both of those guys off the edges, and I'm not just saying 2, 3, because Tuli's playing well now. So they got to block 3 guys off the edges. They're going to have to fix that early, or get the ball out of Patrick's hands.
Yeah. Well said. Absolutely.
Shawne, without getting into all 5 games in the month of November, I feel 5 games is a trend. Whatever happens in the 5 games on the field, statistically or not, is a trend. And the Chiefs easily could have gone 0-5 during that stretch. Comparing the Chiefs to last November to last week at the end of November, the November of 2023, the Chiefs were killing themselves with drop passes, but their defense was playing great, and they were keeping it in those games that they were dropping passes and they were lining up offsides on offense. The defense last year was keeping them in the game. The defense now is struggling. The Raiders came here 32nd in running the football. They ran all over us. They got a guy off the practice squad. The Chiefs, as you mentioned, have a bad situation at both right and left tackle. And back to defense, the second cornerback is not very good. The Chiefs have a lot of holes. We're trying to plug the Titanic here, but the common theme, the reason why the Chiefs fans are optimistic is because they say, oh, Chris Jones and Karlaftis on the defense, they're going to turn it on. There's going to be this switch that's going to turn it on. Shawne, how hard is it? You played at a high level as an outside linebacker, defensive end. How hard is it to just turn it on in December and January? Is this something that can happen?
Yeah, it's hard, man, because it's a mentality that you kind of set early on of who we are. And that's like you just waking, you're an unmotivated person, and one day you just roll out of bed and you're just this motivated person. Like, it just doesn't work that way. It's a build-up process. Like, hey, this is who I am. Now I might have some bad days, but I'm this actual motivated person. And, to your point last year, like with Snead, I thought that they were going to be terrible this year. I mean, I really did when Snead left. And because you're right, some of those big games last year against the Ravens and it was the defense. It was the defense that came up, made those big plays to get those guys. Drew Tranquil, coming in, making big plays. It was the defense last year. Chris Jones, who closed games out, who was a defense, and they're not as strong as they were but yet they're winning. That's the scariest part of it all. And it reminds me back of those early 2000s, the mid 2000s, the late 2000s Patriots, where I didn't think they were that good some of those years. 07, they were good, but they had some years. In 09, they wasn't that good. I think in 010, they won. They won. And so when that's the scariest part when you're playing teams like that you may be better than. It's several different positions, and you look up at the scoreboard, you're like, how do they got 3 more points more than us? How does that happen? And how do you get sacked 5 times and still win the game? It's just things like that they just find ways to win games. And with the Chargers, if they really look to go take this, they're going to have to like put a nail in the coffin, because you can't give them a shot at any point in time, because you know what Patrick Mahomes is going to do. But also, too, you don't want to be in a 3rd and long situation with Chris Jones breathing down your neck. You just don't want to do that. And so you got to stay out of those situations, put the nail in the coffin early in the game where it's not coming down to that, because we know what those guys are going to do on the other end. We know what Andy Reid can do. They got to put the nail in the coffin if they plan on going and taking this thing.
Yep. Shawne, we just always treasure these moments with you. Thanks so much. Before we cut you loose, we got to hit you with our final 4. It'll be 4 quick hitting questions. You give us whatever comes to mind. I'm going to start because I'm just really curious about this, because it is December now. So I can go ahead and ask you, what's your favorite Christmas movie?
It's probably still Home Alone. I mean,
yes.
I'm still a Home Alone guy. I mean, it comes on, and the first 2 are better. The 3rd one is not.
Oh God, no, yeah,
Those are real.
Those are not even real. No. Good.
Yeah. So let's just wipe those out. Let's just wipe those out of our memory and just go with the 1 and 2.
Yes.
There you go. Lance.
Shawne, you made a career out of this, being the lights out man. You were that guy, that hit the crap out of everybody. But I need to know the story, and I want you to tell me the truth here, whether it was in the NFL or in college or in high school. Who was the guy that put the lights out on Shawne Merriman?
I didn't. The one time I got hit that blew up on everybody, it was like when Maurice Jones-Drew got me, right, in Jacksonville in 07. And I was thinking, I was like, man, it was a big deal. I mean, they made commercials out of this thing, right? It was like a massive deal to see me get put on my butt. But nobody ever really got me like I got them. No, I don't. I mean, even my Oklahoma drills and 101, I've faced them all, man. I never lost.
I like it.
But I've definitely had some ones, man, like with Lo Neal. I mean, I've had some 1-on-1 battles in practice, especially when I got there as a rookie with Lo Neal, that we had to make an agreement, a brother-in-law agreement, that we got to stop because somebody's not going to make it to the game. So if anybody, it will probably be him.
He's our good friend. We had him on for the last Chargers Chiefs game, so he's good friend of the shows here, Lorenzoni.
Yeah, when you ask him, he could probably tell the story better than me, man. But we went after when I first got there, and I got him, and he got me right back. And after that, it was a truce. So,
Shawne, what's your favorite food to eat in Kansas City?
I love that steakhouse. It's not too far from that casino. God. My former agent, Tom Condon, used to take me there all the time.
Hereford House?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah, Tom used to take me there all the time when I come in town.
Good deal.
Lance mentioned your nickname Lights Out. You've said that you knocked out 4 kids in high school, and then you kind of got the nickname Lights Out there. And my question to you is, have you ever kept in touch with them? Have they gotten a hold of you? Do you send them Christmas cards every year? You made a brand out of this name. They've helped build the Shawne Merriman empire.
Dude, it's the most awkward thing ever, because I have ran into a couple of those guys. We were playing a team called Friendly High School, and they were our rivalry in high school. And I hit the guy, and he almost did a backflip, but his legs kind of caught up on him, and he tore his ACL. Right?
Oh, God.
He was stretched out on his back, but he almost did a full backflip, but his legs caught him, and he tore his ACL, which I felt horrible about. But I was doing my coat drive probably about 10 years ago at the University of Maryland, and some guy walks up to me and was like, "Hey, you remember me?" And the first thing I started thinking of, like, no, I mean, should I? I don't know. And he told me that he was that guy, and I just looked, and I said, "Man, I'm sorry. Look, you know what I mean? Like it was just my job. I was playing within the 60-minute period, the 4 quarters. I was just lined up and I did my thing. It's the same thing with Priest, man. Like when I saw Priest in a Playboy Mansion party.
Well, there's a story.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw he was across, man. And I was like, I don't know if because I love Priest obviously played for Baltimore, who I grew up in Maryland. So I love Priest, watching, Priest and those runs that they had. And I saw Priest across, and the last thing I wanted to do was like go up and say something to him. I'm like, damn, what do I say? What do you apologize first? You act like it didn't happen? Like, what do you know what I mean? Like, because off the field, I'm not as evil as I am within that 60-minute time period. So I'm not like looking to go up and punch him in the face or anything if he says anything to me. I was actually ready to apologize. I'm like, dude, I was just, out there playing. But yeah, that was pretty awkward. I still never talked to Priest about it. I didn't want to bring it up, and obviously him being one of my favorite players. Yeah, it was pretty surreal.
Oh, Shawne, you're the best. Thanks so much for your time, man. Best of luck. This is going to be a great one on Sunday night. Good luck with everything you do. Lights out, XF 21. It is coming up Friday, 5 o'clock Pacific. So that'll be 7 o'clock
Saturday,
here.
December 7th. Saturday, December 7th. Yeah.
Saturday. Yes. Sorry about that.
Yep.
Yeah, Saturday. Shawne, you're the best. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Always an honor, my friend. Take
Thanks
care.
for having me. You got it.
Yep.
Beast.
That was Shawne Merriman, and a guy that, man, when the Chiefs drafted Derek Johnson back in 2005, there for a minute, I'm like, did we draft the wrong outside linebacker? Should Shawne Merriman have been a Chief? I think Shawne went before Derek, if I remember right. But
He did. Yeah, Chiefs would have had a trade up.
Yeah, I remember wanting Shawne in that draft, but obviously I would have been happy both ways with the way it turned out. Derek Johnson, great here, leader in tackles, and so I think either way you go, you get a lights out player.
Shawne was definitely the more dynamic player. I think he was just more, the freakish athlete, the guy that made the blow up plays. But I think if we're being honest here, man, DJ gave the Chiefs 13.
Right. Yeah, you can't.
Shawne had the injuries. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but that one game that he knocked out Priest Holmes, that's all we remember. But if if you look at the highlights on my Instagram story and Facebook story, he pushed Willie Roaf back and sacked Trent Green. Then Jason Dunn knocked his helmet off, but he still pushed Jason Dunn all the way back into Trent Green without his helmet and made the sack. So I was like, dang, I forgot about all this. This guy
that might have been his rookie year, man. It was out in 05. Yeah. And the Chargers immediately, they went to 14-2 in 2006 and were, a Marlon McCree fumbled interception away from going to the AFC Championship game there.
Right.
So the Chargers, man, and this is the Chargers, they haven't won this division since 2009, guys. That's how insane that this is, that the Chiefs, the Broncos, and then the Chiefs completely ran this division. The Chiefs are about to win their 9th straight AFC West championship, God willing, I guess. I don't know. If you listen to me, maybe it sounds like maybe the wheels are about to fall off. I don't think to the extent of losing this division, but we've gotten into this Chargers game. We know what to expect from them. We know that Raiders game back. It seems like 2 weeks ago because it was back on Black Friday. So, had some time to digest from that. I think here's a question from all four of us. Who was the most concerned about that? I vote for Lance. He was the one. And I kind of agree, Lance. I was not my favorite day.
Concerned before the game or concerned after?
Well, just the way it played out.
I think, look, we were going to start this up before Shawne got on the show, which I think was good because it saved it for right now, which is good. But Clint, I do, the one thing I very much appreciate about you the most, man, is the fact that you keep things real. Noah, that's why I was so happy to join Starcade Media, because I knew that I was going to be dealing with honest people here when it came to sports. You don't care if people agree with you guys or not. And that's something that I have very much have been in lockstep with you guys even before we joined together. So, and Shane, that's how Shane and I met all the years ago as well. I made a controversial YouTube video about Scott Pioli and I ended up being right. So go figure. Oh, yeah. But when it came to this matchup, yeah, man, I mean, I came into this matchup feeling very good, very confident the Chiefs were finally going to put one on a divisional foe. And so I was stressing the whole game. And so, Trevor and I, we didn't end up doing a show this last week, a lot of holiday stuff. I was under the weather like an MF, man. It was bad. So I had no voice. I literally could not do a show even if I wanted to. So, but I'm glad that we got to keep that for this show, man, because I really haven't talked much about it. I said that the Chiefs they didn't luck into a victory. The Raiders gave them one. That's all I really wanted to talk about
at
that
that's
time.
Fair.
And I left it at that. They call us the spoken, but I had nothing really much to speak on at that time because I was so pissed off about this game. But you know what I did, guys? I spent the last several days really just figuring out what this is all about. And because I'm going to tell you the truth right now, and this doesn't sound like I'm just being overly optimistic, the Chiefs are still the team to beat. They're still the team that's going to go. I believe they're going to go to the Super Bowl and still win the Super Bowl. And people are going, well, how could you say that with the way they're playing? And I had to ask myself that question. How can I say that, but see and acknowledge and be pissed off about how they're playing? Because right now, they're not playing good football, even defensively. So how could I sit here and say these things? I had to figure out what the Chiefs are actually doing. We have talked about it a little bit on this show, and I didn't even realize that we had been talking about it. You remember how we talked about how a couple of weeks ago the Chiefs were running their offense through Xavier Worthy to kind of see what it would look like if they did this on a normal basis? Remember we talked about that a little bit about, hey, let's see what it looks like if we give him volume, targets. And then we saw earlier in the year, we know what Travis Kelce has been, but he's 35 now. What's the offense going to look like through him? What's the offense going to look like through D-Hop? Now we've seen games where they're going through Noah Gray.
Yep.
The Chiefs are playing chess. And listen, first of all, I'm not excusing their play. I'm not saying that I like it. I'm not saying that I like the mentality. But this is clearly what's happening, fellas. The Chiefs are playing this because we just talked about this a week ago or 2 weeks ago with Frank Bull, and he said it clear as day. The Chiefs have played more games than anybody else over the last 6-7 years and have won more games than anybody else. So it's clearly working, and they're clearly tired. And they want to get through the regular season as healthy and as ready as humanly possible. It's a long, grueling season, but I think it finally clicked in my mind. They're not out here to play like the Lions, because the Lions have everything to prove.
Right.
They're a team that's trying to get to where the Chiefs are and where the Chiefs have been for the last several years. The Chiefs have been there and have been there for years now. So now, instead of finding a way to climb the hill, they're finding a way to stay atop the hill. And the best way of doing that is just staying healthy. It may not be sexy, it may not be fun, but they just broke a Patriots record of the most consecutive one-score victories, 14 games in a row. And that was the 03-04 Patriots that won 3 out of 4 championships. So we know that's what the Patriots did 20 years ago. Why should it be any different for this team now? It's not fun. These last 2 seasons haven't been fun for us, guys. I remember our guy Brian B. Shawne was on the show. Shawne was on the show, and he talked about, well, it's fun because we win. But we all can acknowledge the fact that this isn't like 2018 or 2019 when the Chiefs were scoring 35 a game. Those are fun. They've not been fun games. So from a fan perspective, from a quality perspective, we haven't been enjoying the games. But I guarantee you, every single one of us would take this, knowing the Chiefs are going to be in the dance every single year like they have been, over high-octane offense and blowing everybody out and then getting folded in the postseason like we know the Bills have, like we know the Bengals have, like we know the Lions have, the Packers. You name any other team out there that's impressive during the regular season, what ends up happening to them every year, and the Chiefs continue to ascend or at least stay on top of the hill. So I have finally acknowledged it. I finally accepted it. I'm not going to enjoy football on Sundays until we get to the postseason. This team is warming up, getting ready for a postseason run, and when we are talking about this team being in their 4th Super Bowl in 5 years, we will remember this conversation about how the Chiefs were playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers. Do you guys agree, disagree? How do you see it?
Yeah, going off that, Lance, we got John Harrison here. They're sort of bored playing regular season games, just waiting for the playoffs. We've talked about that. Travis Kelce's talked about that. And we've got Draymond Green in 2015, 2016. They had just lost. They ended up going 73-9, but in the regular season near the end, they had just lost to the horrendous Minnesota Timberwolves in overtime. And he was asked, like, hey, what's going on? Is this boring for you guys? Are you just trying to get through the season? And he says, it's human nature to wear all right, kind of ready for the regular season to end. Talking 82 games. We get bored with that after a while, and that's no excuse. It's kind of at a point now where you're ready for the regular season to be over. We got to finish out the regular season strong, and I think that's what we saw in November. And now the Chiefs are going to try to finish out the regular season strong. They were going through their boredom of November. We play these games. We play late into the season every year. We're holding things back. And yeah, we're Chris Jones. We've seen it. He's just kind of going through the motions, not exerting full effort. And so, yeah, Lance said, we don't really like seeing that. We don't like hearing that, but it's how they've kind of figured out a way to stay on top and play their best football when it comes playoff time.
And that's because what Lance was talking about, the way the Lions are playing, and they're beating a couple teams 52-6, and it's like the best of times, starring Robin Williams and Kurt Russell, where he said, it's like, I think every year they beat us 82-6. Well, that's great, and it looks wonderful, and you get to really gush about it, and the numbers look wonderful, and it's fun. Like, there's that word again. But guess what? It isn't. It is not sustainable. Not in the National Football League playoffs. You might get away with that against the NFC South champion or the NFC West this season, but this is not the way football is played in January and in the Super Bowl against another high-quality opponent, or in this case, an immortal opponent, which the Chiefs now are. So, yes, my question's always been, would people think more highly of this team if the Chiefs were, say, 8-4, the same record as the Chargers, but they had 2 more blowout? They beat the Bengals by 21 and, take another one. They beat the Bucs by 35 points at home, but they had 2 more losses. That's what you want? Because the Ravens were in the Super Bowl 5 weeks ago. It was the Ravens. What are we doing here? Of course, Lamar Jackson's in a Super Bowl, and of course they're winning it, but it's not sustainable, Shane. You know what is sustainable? The Kansas City Chiefs organization. We know it. It's tried and true, and you have to trust it until it completely fails you. And when that time comes, then we'll all jump off a cliff together.
Guys, we're lucky about everything we've been blessed with the past 6 years. And I respect Lance's opinion about chess and whatnot. But in reality, if Leo Chenal doesn't put that guard on his ass, we don't win that game because the field goal's not blocked. If Aiden O'Connell's was on the same page with the center, we probably don't win that game. If Patrick Mahomes doesn't get a big block from Justin Watson, he doesn't have a 35-yard run down the field for an easy field goal against the Panthers. The Chiefs in a 5-game stretch. This is important, guys. I put on my Homer glasses in 1995 and chose not to ignore Steve Bono slumping and Lynn Elliott missing extra points. Okay? The Chiefs have a real problem that we did not have last year. We went through a 5-game stretch through the month of November where our offense couldn't, on a 4-minute offense, get the first downs, make them use their timeouts, take a knee. We punted the ball away. Baker Mayfield goes 80. They don't go for 2. That's their problem. Mahomes wins in overtime. Again, we have to settle for a field goal with 5 minutes left. Bo Nix hits 3 third and long completions to set up easy field goals. That's a loss. Those 2 games of Buccaneers and Broncos are a loss. Bills game's a loss because they're the Bills and Chris Jones couldn't make the tackle on 4th and 2. And then here we are, up by 8. Get the first downs against Carolina and go home with 3 minutes left. They don't get it. Panthers go down, get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Here we go. And here we go last week. 5 games in a row where our defense was the identity that Shawne Merriman just talked about that carried us throughout the playoffs last year into the Super Bowl, just laid down 5 games in a row. Leo Chenal won one of them. The offensive tackles are terrible. We still don't know if it's Najee Johnson or Joshua Williams, who was going to lose the battle to get that gig. There's major concerns here, guys.
Shane, and I don't want to cut you off, but I just want to reply real fast because I know we only have so much time because you're making valid points here. And everything you're saying is true. These are all issues, but these are the issues that I'm addressing with the big picture. What I'm trying to say is obviously in the micro, these are things we have to address. These are things that the Chiefs have to address. These are things that we talk about in every single show about how it's nail biting. It's this one play here and there. But see, these are the things that the Chiefs continue to do, though. That is the difference between them and the Ravens. That is the difference between them and several other teams in the NFL, is those teams don't make those plays. Is that when you look in week 1 against the Ravens, what was the difference between the Chiefs and the Ravens in that game? One play. Exactly. The Chiefs made more plays than the Ravens did. That is why, like I'm telling you, that even though we don't enjoy it, we don't like it. I'm sure the Chiefs don't like it. You saw Travis Kelce walk straight off that field just this week against the Raiders. He was pissed off. He wanted to score that. I guarantee you, selfishly, he probably wanted to score that touchdown to honor Tony Gonzalez and pay respects to him by dunking it on the post. He probably wanted to do that in that game selfishly, and he's earned that right to have selfish thoughts like that. He also probably just wanted to play better. So I'm sure these things are bothering the team. But what I'm saying, though, is when you've had this much success over a certain shorter, condensed period of time than almost any other team in the history of this game, there's going to be, first of all, you're getting everyone's best shot. We already know that. 2, this team has been dealing with insane amounts of injuries to not just players, key starters, skill position guys. Left tackle's been terrible. You just addressed it all. And they're 11-1. So I don't want to simplify it here. I'm not excusing the problems they have. They do have problems, and these problems could end up being the reason they don't win another Super Bowl. But if we were all sitting here right now and we all had an honest conversation with all that addressed and said, all right, guys, postseason starts tomorrow. Who wins the Super Bowl? Who you taking?
Chiefs, absolutely.
And
Why? Why? Because you know this team has done it before. They had the worst wide receiving core in the league last year. This team couldn't score 20 a game last year. This team was relying on their team. Exactly. They had horrible inefficiencies last year, and they still found a way to go win 3 straight road games on the road in the postseason. You're telling me right now you're picking that team when they're better this year as a collective? They may not be as dominant defensively, but they're getting pieces back. Uche's going to start playing more of a role. Omenahu's getting his groove back. The Chiefs have a 2-headed monster in the backfield. They have D-Hop. They're getting Hollywood Brown back. They're going to have an actual left tackle. Like, this team's going to have real solutions. It's not like we're sitting here going, man, they have nothing coming their way. Pacheco's been here the whole time. Omenahu's been here the whole time, and it's still the same. No, these guys are all finally starting to get here at the right time, and we know we've seen this team several years over and over again. Turn it on in December. That's what they do, man, and they've been doing it more and more of these last 2 years, and it's worked. I hate it. I don't like it. We all agree we don't enjoy watching it, but it's been working, and until it doesn't work, I think we do have to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, they do have the benefit of the doubt, but even when, here's what we got to remember, Lance, and Will said, you sound like you should be in church, making me a believer. But listen,
I've always thought that about Lance. I'm glad you brought that up.
But when the game is on the line, now that we've had that 5-game stretch in November, when the games are on the line, regardless of who's on the field in the playoffs, when they know, okay, we're up by 4. There's 3.5 minutes left. They got 2 timeouts plus a 2-minute warning. We got to get these first downs. And if they don't, and if they punt the ball away and the opposition gets the ball with 2 minutes left, there is going to be human nature doubt. Man, we haven't stopped anybody in this. So both offensively, going to be thinking we don't want to punt the ball to the defense, and both defensively, we want to be able to hold them if they got to go 80 yards. There is that concern, that doubt, that because 5 games is a trend in the NFL in a 17-game season. And what they did in month of November, it's a miracle they're 4-1. Yeah. It's a miracle, guys, because they could easily went 2-3 last month. But
they went 5 of 8. They lost 5 of 8 games last year, and that was a trend as well. And since then, they've lost 1 game in a calendar year. So to your point, trends do come and go, though, man, and I think this team is going to buck this trend. I'm not saying the defense is going to be shut down like it was last year. Maybe that was a special run, but I do believe this defense is going to be more than capable of complementing the offense, because now I do believe there's going to be a transition. I don't know if you guys see it the same way. I'd love to hear Clinton Noah on this one, but I think there's a certain transition of power now where it's going to start tilting more to the offensive side, because the majority of the pieces that are going to be coming back and returning for this team, some of these pieces for the first time ever in DJ Humphries and in Hollywood Brown, it's on the offensive side. So now the offense kind of takes that load a little bit off the defense, because for the last year and change, it's been the defense saving the offense. I think this run is going to be more of an offensive run, which we're more familiar with in the Patrick Mahomes era, and it makes more sense when your quarterback is the one leading the way, which he made his run and everything. He did his thing in the postseason, but we realized the defense was keeping the Ravens and the Bills and the 49ers at bay, whereas this game, this time around, it's going to be, man, the Chiefs just dropped 34 points on that team in the postseason. Like, I think that's what we're going to see as time goes on. So defense just needs to make plays, situational football, and that's when you're going to see the Chiefs get back into form, man.
Yeah, well said. And Shane, you talking about like the Broncos game, the Panthers game, that's just great late game execution in those final plays. You saw it. They broke it down with Leo Chanel going after Alex Forsythe there time after time, and they finally broke through and went all out and had a plan to block that kick. And like you said, Justin Watson going down, making 2 blocks on that play against the Panthers to allow Mahomes to run 33 yards down the sideline. And the Raiders, okay, you can say like they gave us that game or whatever, they made the mistake. Like, even if they fall on the ball or it should have been a false start, like everyone's saying, that should have only been a 5-yard penalty, play blown dead, they still, and we have a comment here from John Harrison about how it still would have been a 50-plus yard field goal, and Carlson was missing 50-plus yard field goals all day long.
3 of them.
So It would have been, I think, 55. I think it was 50. And if you enforce that 5-yard penalty, I think it moved it to like 55. So,
well, that's neither here nor there. And not to cut you off, Noah, let's say 4th and 2, we're at their 40-yard line. The Chiefs took a timeout, thought about going for it, didn't. I'm like, Andy Reid, you got to go for it. Do not punt it to your defense. Don't do it. And he did.
That could be part of the shift that Lance is talking about.
What do you think, Lance? What were you thinking? Go for it on 4th and 2? I was.
Listen, you don't pay a guy $500 million not put the game in his hands. I have always disagreed with the way Andy has handled those things, but I've always noticed he's handled it like that in the regular season. You'd be damned if he did that. Even with the great defense like last year, he wouldn't do that in the postseason. So I'm telling you right now, what Clint was just alluding to, that's what I was alluding to, is that I believe these are the things that the Chiefs are just kind of tinkering with in the regular season. Again, I hate the way they do it, guys, but I really do believe because of the amount of games and success they've had in these games over the last 6-7 years, they have to play a little differently. They have to experiment with things to be ready for the postseason because they know they're getting everyone's best shot. So I don't agree with a lot of the things that the Andy Reid does a lot of times, but I do believe his game management, his clock management's gotten better. But I do think there are times I'm like, Andy, what are you even thinking right here, buddy? You have Patrick freaking Mahomes, man. Give him 4 downs if he wants 4 downs. And you saw Patrick finally gets sick of Wanye Morris swinging his arm, saying it's the same damn move, and he benched Wanye Morris' ass, which should have happened like 3 games ago, but I digress. The fact is, you know that Patrick's got the power, and if he wants something to change, Andy's going to change it for him. So you saw that in this game, and that's why I can't say it enough. And Clint, close your ears because it's an offensive line take. DJ Humphries is the single most important piece to the Chiefs winning this Super Bowl.
You might be right, yeah.
The single most. If and when, I tweeted this out a couple days ago, if he is just an average left tackle, I'm not expecting this dude to be Trent Williams or Laramie Tunsil. If he could just be a top 12 to 15 left tackle in this game with the Chiefs, they are not losing again. Mark my words. They are not losing another football game because that has been the single biggest issue with this offense and this team is they cannot get their offense in rhythm. Why is that? They have the skill position, guys. They got Patrick Mahomes playing actually really good football over the last 2 months. They got the coach in place. What's missing? Oh, they don't have a guy that's protecting his blind side. It's the worst probably in football right now. You shore that up with just somebody who's reliable? Patrick Mahomes all of a sudden is comfortable in that pocket and is slinging the ball over the damn field, guys. They're not losing another game like that. And then you have a more rested defense because your offense is on the field more. It's that much more simple. And when you get Hollywood Brown back, defenses have to start playing more cover too because you're going to have speedsters on the outside with him and Xavier Worthy. Then all of a sudden, D-Hop, Travis Kelce, and now new emerging star Noah Gray are going to be eating the middle of the field. Oh, and by the way, you just got Isaiah freaking Pacheco back with Kareem Hunt being the bruiser. All of a sudden, this offense looks unstoppable, fellas. I'm not painting a picture of unrealistic expectations. I'm simply just drawing out a picture of what is to be reality. So that's why I'm excited. And even though I'm pissed off right now about these performances that we see, these lackluster performances, I know these won't exist come January and February because this team's going to be on another level with more pieces around them.
But will this be the 1 seed, Clint, as we look at the Chiefs and Bills remaining schedule?
No, this is a 2 seed. The Chiefs are the 2 seed, and I think we can go ahead and crown that now. The Chiefs will be playing the Denver Broncos, the 7 seed in the first game, in a wild card round at Arrowhead Stadium. You're going to have to go through the Denver Broncos. You might have to go through the Pittsburgh Steelers and then the Buffalo Bills on the road to get to the Super Bowl. Sound fun? Let's go. We did it last year. I guess that's the way it's going to be right now. I think a lot of it, of course, depends on in real life now. I'm being half serious. You know, I'm a tongue-in-cheek guy, but what happens to the Buffalo Bills in that game against Detroit obviously is going to determine a lot of things. What I saw against the Niners, they're not going to lose to the Rams. It's down to that Lions game. Then they play the Patriots, Jets, Patriots. The Chiefs have a brutal schedule. The good news about that is, though, I think the Chiefs, they rise to the occasion. They play better in these big moments, these big games in December. Hey, they can start dangling a carrot. Hey, Travis Kelce, the 1 seed's on the line. You guys, you can get excited for this one. So there's some carrots to dangle, Noah, for the Kansas City Chiefs to make a late surge here and because the Chiefs hold the seed right now. So like what Lance said, obviously you don't lose the game. You don't lose the 1 seed. Simple as that. Chiefs are in control of this. And I mean, that's a good position to be in. It just scares me a little bit given some of the concerns, but I say 2 seed. Hey,
real quick, Noah, can I make a prediction for you guys real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
The Bills are losing their next 2 games.
I will. There is no, I have no words.
Yep. No. Go ahead and mark that down and you guys can drag me if I'm wrong. I won't be.
There's no
because you got to look at just real quick. I know we're limited on time here. The Lions are a team that are fighting for a playoff spot, and the Bills, after having a fun game in the snow at home, get to fly across the country against a desperate and now healthy Rams team who are fighting for the division and for the playoff spot. I am telling you right now, the Matthew Stafford Rams are going to upset the Bills, and then they got to go to the Lions right after that. And the Lions are a team that all of a sudden have a Packers team that's on their ass. And they are banged up on the defensive side, so they know they're going to have to score a ton of points. And what would you know? The Bills' biggest weakness on defense is what? Against good run attacks. They have the best two-headed monster in the backfield in the entire league. I'm telling you right now, they're going to surprise the world by dropping 2 games, and we're not even having this conversation anymore. I know that sounds nuts right now, but this is the NFL, and we've seen crazy things happen. The Bills right now, everything's feeling good. They just beat the living hell out of the 49ers. Woo! Everything's going good. Everyone's kissing their ass. It's all going well. They have to go across the country. Did they just lose 27-23 to the – what just happened? Now they go to the Lions and they lose 35-24. Just wait. We will be here in 3 weeks to talk about this very thing, and I can't wait to do it.
I've been telling Clint that the Rams have somewhat of a chance in that game. I'm not with you. I'm not predicting that they're going to lose the next 2 that the Bills are, but I think that the Rams have a chance. The Lions definitely. I think that's kind of your toss-up game. Lions dealing with injuries, but it being in Detroit, I think that is a game that the Bills could lose, and the Chiefs pretty much need them to lose. I don't know if they're going undefeated the rest of the season. The Chiefs look at that Steelers game as a bugaboo on a short week after the Texans game, and that defense playing lights out. Russell Wilson getting back to old form. So that could be interesting. Hopefully it comes down to a Hail Mary and George Pickens.
Have you seen the Broncos play lately?
Yeah.
Have you been watching the Bo Nix and the Broncos? Anybody out there?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? This division is about to get really damn uncomfortable. Okay. And it might start right now.
How about Bo Nix completing a 93-yard touchdown pass to Mims between a tight window, and then Jameis Winston, a journeyman quarterback, throwing a 70-yard touchdown pass the very next play to Jerry Jeudy. I'm thinking to myself, man, what does this not exist? Oh wait, it doesn't exist to the Chiefs.
Cover Morris that tackle.
Cover 2 shell. Oh man, we can't throw deep.
The Chiefs. I am so interested in that Chiefs-Browns game. You want to talk about some fun?
Yeah.
Like Coach Herman Boone said in Remember the Titans, I'm going to tell you about how much fun you're going to have in these next 5 weeks, gentlemen.
Snowy, crappy.
And we'll start with predictions right now because it's time to do it. And I'm just going to start because I've loved this from the beginning. And I'm going to tell you what, I don't make guarantees. I guarantee a Chargers win Sunday Night Football. The Los Angeles Chargers are coming here. We talk about them dealing with some injuries. How about in week 3 when the Chiefs lost Rashee Rice for the season? There was no Joe Alt for the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay. There was no, Joey Bosa for the Los Angeles Chargers on that day. Okay. The Chargers are the best defense in football right now. I think they're the best team in the AFC West. They're not going to win the division. But the Chargers do win on Sunday night, making it just a little uncomfortable for the Chiefs, 24-21. It's a guarantee. To me, I don't even know what we're talking about. Like, the Chargers are winning this game Sunday night, and that is the last I want to hear about it. Thank you for joining us.
Go ahead, Shaggy.
First off, I want to thank John Harrison for talking about this is gravy. This is gravy.
He's right. But John Harrison did pick the Patriots to beat the Bills, which is even more crazy than Lance's prediction of the Rams beating the Bills. John, I was such a fan until I saw that.
And I'll take the Jets beating the Bills.
Woohoo!
This is an exciting time. We've waited a long time, and I got 3 World Championship hats in my car that I get to start my day from. Do I want to wear 2019, 2022, 2023? I'm good. If the Chiefs don't three-peat this year, I'm still good. The Steelers didn't three-peat in 76, and they didn't three-peat in 1980. But you know what? I look back at the historic Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s, and they were badass. Specifically to this game Sunday night, after the game, tune in to me and Harvey Williams on Star K Media, and we will break it down. But before that, tune in to Lance Twidwell of The Spoken on Saturday morning as he'll preview the game with his brother, Trevor Twidwell. This game, the Chiefs got problems. I talked about it with Lights Out Shawne Merriman, and I talked about it here on Arrowhead Allies. They got to find themselves. And Chris Jones, after the game on Black Friday, was telling the media, I need to talk to NFLPA. our bye week was early this year, and we got three games in 10 days, which are all valid points. And don't get me wrong, I love Chris Jones, first ballot Hall of Famer. But the Chiefs are tired. The Chargers are hungry. DJ Humphries has to be the next savior to win this game. I don't see it happening. Chargers 27-16.
Jeez Louise, what do we got going on here, Lance? What is this?
I appreciate when these guys do this because I'm not the fan favorite on the show. Shaggy is, and if he's not, that's one of you two.
Hi.
So this is my opportunity to maybe shine a little bright here, because I remember I did this in the San Francisco game when I believe Shaggy had them winning by like 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I like this opportunity. So if you allow me real quick, guys, I'm gonna strut my stuff a little bit real quick, because this is a game where I'm actually very confident that the Chiefs not only win this game, but they're gonna be the one that makes the defensive play in this game, because we know the Chargers are coming in this one with a statistically better defense. But as I said with Shawne Merriman earlier in the show, context matters. And the Chargers have had one of the easiest, if not the easiest schedule in the NFL this season. They had a last place schedule, and they just so happened to face the NFC South as the NFC opponents. So they've had a very easy schedule defensively. They have also had a overall healthy Joey Bosa, which is a miracle. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, the Chiefs are getting right at the right time. They finally have a left tackle who will be starting in this game, by the way. They will have Isaiah Pacheco. They will have a Minahu. Uche is actually going to be playing meaningful minutes because they are going to be starting to get FAU out of the way because he's just not a plus player right now. They are going to start playing their best players, and it's December. It's now time for the Chiefs to lock in. I'm not saying this is going to be a blowout. In fact, it's not going to be. I don't even have the Chiefs covering the spread right now. That was a -4. I have this being a field goal game. And this game is going to be won by a Chris Jones strip sack, and they're going to recover the ball in the fourth quarter. And the Chiefs already have the lead, but the Chargers will be driving. And this is going to be when the defense starts to get their swagger back a little bit, because, as Shaggy was saying, it's been a trend now for well over a month where the defense is not making big plays. They're not making stops on 3rd down. They're not making stops on 4th down. That is where this changes this week, because, to the Chargers' chagrin, they also are missing their key running back in this game, which really sucks for them. J.K. Dobbins goes on the IR. That is a big hit for them. Ladd McConkey is really banged up. I'm not saying they won't be able to manufacture something, because Herbert is a very good quarterback. Greg Roman's a good OC, and it's Jim Harbaugh, for God's sakes. This team's going to come in here ready, confident. This will be body blows, like Shawne Merriman said. He nailed that when he said that. Yeah. This is going to be a body blow game. These teams know each other so damn well, and the Chargers, for once, are really coached up well. They have one of the best coaches in the entire world when it comes to football. But the Chiefs are locked in. They are going to find a way to win this game. I think the offense actually scores some points in this game because they're going to be a little more confident with the two-headed monster in the backfield. Oh, and again, did I mention they'll actually have a left tackle in this game? I think the Chiefs are going to win this game squeaking one out. It will be a very good game. It'll be entertaining. The Chargers will give the Chiefs the best they got, but they will fall short. The Chiefs win this game 27-24.
Yeah, I mean, this Andy keeps talking about we want to make sure that DJ's ready. You could see Joe Tooney at left tackle. If that happens, I'm not so sure about this prediction, but assuming that DJ is ready and he's playing left tackle, Clint, Shane, I might have been with you if J.K. Dobbins was in, if Ladd McConkey was in. Jim Harbaugh came out today and said, I don't think Ladd, he might not practice all week. And so that means he's probably not going to play in this game. Without Ladd McConkey, they're trusted, reliable, really only real true weapon that they can count on in the passing game. Without J.K. Dobbins running the ball, we saw they couldn't even run against the Falcons, anything. Hassan Haskins fumbled once. He got pulled. Kamani Vidal and Gus Edwards did virtually nothing on the ground. So with DJ Humphries, with Pacheco now back, getting his feet wet, had a really good game in limited touches, only I think 7 carries. I see the Chiefs winning this one, squeaking it out. It's a great Chargers defense. It's going to be a great challenge. As Andy Reid likes to say, we got a good challenge here, and the Chargers coming in here to Arrowhead. But I think this is a close Chiefs victory, 17-16. Chiefs squeak out the victory.
Okay. Well said, guys. Great show. Great. Thank you, Shawne Merriman. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all our viewers or listeners or posters. You guys will kick ass. James T. Kirk, I know you're disappointed, but I still love you, buddy. Come and heckle me after the Chiefs game with Harvey Williams if I am wrong.
Yep.
I'll gladly welcome it. Clint,
Absolutely.
Enjoy Wasp.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for
it.
it.
To Wasp, and we are going to 12-1 here in Chiefs Kingdom. Till next time.
Hello, Chiefs!